Welcome back to the Leadership with a Twist podcast. I am your host, Heather McGonigal, here as always with my trusty sidekick, Barbara Schindler. And we're so glad you're joining us for today's leadership conversation, which is intention versus reaction. We're going to talk a little bit about your part and how you as a leader are relating to your role and what's happening all day, every day.
Yes, absolutely. It's moving from, the day driving you to you driving intentionally how you're approaching your day.
Yeah, so the main premise we want to start here with is that we all have choice as human beings. Either life is happening to us and we are merely victims of circumstance, surviving life as it's happening to us, or we are empowered and we are moving through life in self leadership and choosing our responses, choosing our way forward, choosing how we're experiencing what is happening to us, and how that relates to you if you are in a team and a leader is, are you moving through your day with intention, or are you just reacting and responding as things are happening? The coaching here is let's get you to pause, slow down, and build a relationship where you're checking in with yourself first so that you can move forward anchored in intention.
Sounds really good.
Yeah, so one of the things that Barbara and I were talking about, this is very common, so you've probably, if you've been listening to us for a while, you have heard us talking about this. In entrepreneurial businesses, you are always doing as much as you can with not enough resources. And the human resource, the human being, is the most valuable and limited resource in the organization. What do I mean by that? I mean, there's only 24 hours in a day, and there's only 8 hours of that day that you're going to spend focused working. And of that 8 hours, there's only like 4 hours or 5 hours that you can spend really, really like using all of your brain doing very focused, hard, intentional work. You can't, you have limits. You are a human being. You're not a machine or a robot. So you have to decide as you look at your work week, as you look at the day, what's the best use of me? When am I best as a thinker? As when am I the most creative? And plan your week and your day accordingly when and how you can. And then you have meetings and other obligations that are have tos that get plugged in inside of that as well.
Right. So one of the challenges in this is when we're not recognizing in our own human nature that we are a limited resource and questioning, what's the best use of me? And instead, reacting a lot more to the volume that comes in and adapting the best you can. And oftentimes, when we're coaching, we often hear those kind of experiences of feeling like, but my work isn't good enough. It's not fulfilling, and I could do better. It's not a full representation of what I'd like to do in that delivery. Yes, we're getting the outcomes. People might even be thinking I'm doing excellent, but that overcapacity of delivery and that unbalance does catch up. It's not sustainable. And many different things happen, whether people burn out or they leave or they just start closing in. And the thing that I guess I want to add to that is that it becomes like this is our norm. So one of the challenges here is to question, just because we're doing it this way all the time, it's become a habit, almost a cultural habit, right, in
Mm-hmm.
an organization. We're inviting that idea to check in with yourself and kind of reset how's it going? Because that just because it's happening that way, and often it's like, well, we're going to finish this and it's going to get normal again. It's going to, we're going to get through something and get to whatever normal is meant to be in the past isn't what you have today.
Right. Yes, because the business has grown, expanded, we're working on more, it's busier, it's just different. I think you bring up a lot of good points, Barbara, and I want to highlight some of them. First and foremost, I think you're painting the picture of a conundrum faced by high performers, which is that high performers naturally have high expectations of themselves. And that's good news. It's gotten them where they are. In a way, they don't need their CEO or other teammates to have high expectations of them because they have enough high expectations of themselves. And part of the conundrum of being in an entrepreneurial business where we have not enough resources to do everything we need to do, and there are times, a lot of times, where we have to do things to the level of good enough, and that can be really frustrating for high performers because we have to do it to good enough level to meet the deadline of all the things and keep everything moving. But we know there's other levels available.
Mhm.
We actually know, well, but if I had 2 more hours, I could take it to this level or that level, and I'd really like to do that. But that's not available because that might mean dropping this ball over here or that ball over there, and we can't do that either. So then we have to get comfortable with the good enough in a lot of scenarios. And that can be hard for high performers to know. I can do better and I know exactly how to do better. And yet I'm not allowed to do better on this particular project because it has to be good enough and it has to be done and I have to keep it moving, right? So that it can be very, a complex scenario inside of ourselves and inside of the team. So that left
Mhm.
me thinking, and witnessing in clients that I've been supporting, that we have to pause, slow down, and define success differently for ourselves in these environments as high performers. That
Mhm.
we're going to define winning, define successful completion of projects, define done, and define winning around these projects in such a way differently, so it matches the level of done for this project and what it means to actually achieve winning in this environment, that we can look ahead for the week. So my coaching around this is kind of start out on a Monday and look at your calendar and look at the work week and look at the projects on your plate and think, what is winning in my role this week?
Yeah, I think that's a great intentional question to start your how do I pace my week? How do I set myself up for success? And there is a component there, especially high achievers can get caught in this. Like, not everything needs to be delivered at the highest bar.
Yeah, and it's really hard, right? Like it's as I said, a conundrum for a high achiever
But
because
even with good business thinking, sometimes like that good enough that we're going for is that this project needs this level of delivery. That project going to the CEO needs this level, and starting to differentiate. Not everything is the same level as far as what's actually even needed, as well as what's the capacity to deliver. You're discerning those pieces, as you said, ahead of time, and really setting yourself up with an intentional week to know when's the best ways to approach some of these projects. I think one of the other things is like, sometimes if you find yourself, let me just add this in, if you find yourself leaning heavily into distractions like, I'm just going to go clean up my emails right now. I'm going to go do that check off list work. That's good. Go do it. But recognize that's usually a symptom of the work happening to you versus pacing yourself and leading the work. Meaning that naturally as humans, we go like, I need some satisfaction here. So I go to email box or I go to the check off, I can accomplish this and
Task
get it
list.
done
Yeah.
list. Exactly. So those are things like when you see that, be like, oh, hey, maybe something, maybe I should listen inside for a moment. Let me see what's going on here because I'm feeling this need. And it usually distracts us from doing, Heather, exactly what you're talking about is setting intentions for success for the week. We distract ourselves from that.
Yes. So the coaching here is to think of a bigger goal of winning, to pull yourself forward through the week. Define what successful completion for the week when you're getting to your Friday, whether your Friday is on a Thursday or a Friday or wherever it falls, when you're getting to your Friday, what is winning going to look like for yourself and your team? And it
Mhm.
may look like your task list is done, your email inbox is at zero, that big project, phase one is complete and it's passed on to the other department. It may look like those things, all of those things. It may look like a variety of those things that are on your plate got moved forward. But as Barbara said, don't hide out in your inbox, don't hide out in your task list. It can be part of the picture of successful completion, though, by the end of the week. Um, so define success, and define winning in your role for the week, and really kind of get used to looking at that and defining that for yourself because it will help you be a better leader to your teammates. Because if you have people that report to you, they're struggling with this too.
Mhm.
They're trying to win in a busy environment where they're stretched thin, where they get through a work week, make it to the weekend, and are not sure, am I winning or am I not winning? And we're going to do this all again next week. How's it really going? So if you start to demonstrate I am winning in my role and claiming some of those wins. So that's the other part we want you to define done so you can recognize, hey, phase one of that project is complete. Yay! And celebrate outwardly. Celebrate and acknowledge yourself and your team for your completion. Then you're starting to build and contribute to a healthier culture where our achievements along the way are more recognized than just a blur in our busyness.
Yeah, I think of it as milestones. And so once you have your intentional success for the week, what's to be accomplished, at what levels to be accomplished, going back and, scheduling some time blocks and thinking, I think you mentioned earlier, Heather, is like, when's my best time of the day when I'm a good, focus thinker versus other times when I'm better interacting, right? Like when's the good project time to so actually go back and like create some intentions for those milestones you'll achieve and then check in at the end of each day. How did that go? How's my week going for my bigger picture? So you're finding one, those celebration moments that you're talking about, Heather, as well as do I need to adjust anything along the way?
Yes. And as you're checking in with yourself, as Barbara is suggesting, you are practicing moving through your week with intention. And this is the big shift that makes a big difference because now life and your work life is not happening to you, but you're driving the ship. You're
Yeah.
guiding the ship through your week. You're moving intentionally through your work week. You're being strategic about best use of you. You're observing what's working well, what's not working well. How am I really doing here? And so you're moving with greater intention. The more you move with clear intention and the more you learn from what you observe through this process, the more energy you actually save. You're going
Yes.
to save energy and get time back from the things you learn as you move with greater awareness and you learn through what you observe.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think what we're talking about is intentional leading, your own part, which will help adapt and shift the culture and habits within the team itself. It starts with you.
Yes. So that's good news, right? So if you're inside of a team right now and maybe you're frustrated and you're wishing it would change, the good news is the change can start today with you. You don't need anyone else to change. You can shift through your own conscious, intentional awareness in how you move through things and practice first this redefining what successful completion and done is so that you can have more wins along the way because you deserve those wins.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think we've done it for today. Thank you for your time and attention. I hope that there was a helpful nugget for you in this conversation. If there was, please let us know in the comments below this video. If you'd like any support in your particular situation, any one on one coaching support to help get some customization for how this actually applies to you in particular, in your company, in your situation. There's always links below the video to get scheduled with a free consultation call with Barbara or myself. Please take us up on that opportunity. We love supporting leaders, it's what we're passionate about. So no strings attached. We just love doing that. So take us up on that opportunity. And until then, we'll see you in the next video. We hope you have a great week.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.